We have often complained on this channel that Genie Plus is killing the Walt Disney World Resort. Well, it now seems that Genie Plus is dead, and now it's being replaced by paid FastPass with different nomenclature. Let's talk about Lightning Lane Multipass here on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and here with me is a man who can grant you 3 wishes, Mr. VashSky. Vash, my first wish is for there to be no line skipping services, paid line skipping services at Walt Disney Parks and Resorts. Can you do that for me?
Denied. No. So this is very interesting. It's very interesting how they would brand the previous system that they're now replacing to such an iconic character, and the disdain that people look upon this service and the character attached is really unfortunate.
Yeah, and I mean, Robin Williams as the Genie, really a great character and one of the pinnacles of Walt Disney animation, of a single character, to the point where when they talk about Maui and his tattoo, little mini Maui on the tattoo that's animated by Eric Goldberg, they specifically go back to the fact that Eric Goldberg was the animator on The Genie. And I love the character. And this is, of course, the issue that comes up when you do commerce based on your own IPs. Let's go to this tweet from Scott Guston. Starting July 24th, you'll be able to book Lightning Lane before you arrive at Walt Disney World. Genie Plus will become Lightning Lane Multipass, and individual Lightning Lane will change to Lightning Lane Single Pass. Here's what you need to know. And look, it's got a little thread icon there. Look at that. So as they're
need it.
yes, because this does get even more complicated here. Genie Plus was already considered complicated. FastPass before it was considered complicated. I'm going to need your expertise and your history here, Vash, for this one.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Multipass was formerly the Disney Genie Plus service, which you could only access through the My Disney Experience app, which was the upgrade from Genie, which is the system. I think Genie will still be in place, but not Genie Plus.
Right.
That's already a good differentiator because there really was no reason to make Genie Plus the thing that gets you Lightning Lane when you're looking for Lightning Lane or whatever. Okay. So first of all, you need to purchase one for one theme park per day. So we're looking at a up to a 30, maybe 40 timestamp on this video because eventually we'll be looking back and seeing what the price of Lightning Lane went to. Choose up to 3 experiences and times in one theme park ahead of your visit. That's going to get more complicated as well. And after using one selection, obviously on the day of, check the My Disney Experience app for availability to make an additional selection. Vash, is this the same as FastPass Plus at this point?
More or less. I mean, as far as this description goes, it's very, very similar. Where you get into the details, though, okay. That's where there's a little nuance.
All right, we'll get there. And now, individual Lightning Lane, formerly individual Lightning Lane entry is now Lightning Lane Single Pass. By the way, I like the logos now. They actually have a better logo for this. Purchase up to 2 selections per day in advance for some of our most highly demanded attractions, such as Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, Tron Light Cycle Run. This is fascinating. They don't put on here Rise of the Resistance or Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway or Tiana's Bayou Adventure, although those are supposed to be the hot new rides. Right now they have Tron Light Cycle Run, which is a 60-second ride, less than 60-second ride, and Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. I think everybody says that that's a great coaster. I haven't ridden that one. Looks a little too queasy for me, but you can pay the $20 on some days per guest and get an individual Lightning Lane here for that one. That's the one that wasn't on FastPass Plus for sure. So here's where it gets complicated. This fine print down here. Guests staying at a Disney Resort Hotel or other select hotels will be able to plan Lightning Lane passes up to 7 days in advance for their entire stay, up to 14 days. So you can do this potentially up to 21 days in advance if you're staying at a Disney Resort Hotel or select hotel. And all other guests, and that's not quite true, all other guests, it's all other guests domestically can plan up to 3 days in advance. Yes, there is more to this story than meets the eye. Vash, before we get to the more, do you want to explain what's going on here?
I do believe they are doing all of this for multiple reasons. One, Genie Plus it hasn't been looked at too fondly. So I think there was a brand change that necessitated this, but also too, I believe it was Disney Glimpses and Wildest Ride on Twitter who were discussing between themselves, and I have to agree with this, that the predictive modeling that Disney used in order to forecast where people would actually go, how they would actually use the properties, where they would actually spend their time, I think wasn't necessarily that predictive under the Genie Plus model. Because remember, back at Genie Plus, you had to wake up at 7 a.m. and book your lightning lanes throughout the day. Well, okay, so what if there's enhanced demand for certain attractions that you didn't actually staff up for ahead of time? This is kind of why the predictive modeling, or I should say the advanced reservations, is so key here.
I don't think this reduces complication for services now. And I think that right now you're talking about, you have to, first of all, you have to buy your tickets. Second of all, you have to consider whether or not you're going to get Multipass now, which whether or not they call it Lightning Lane or Multipass. Okay, I suppose there is a system in which people could pay for a single Lightning Lane and therefore not get Multipass. That hasn't been laid out to me, whether or not you have to have one in order to get the other. You have to then get a park reservation for the specific day that you're wanting. You probably need to do that park reservation before you decide whether you're going to get Lightning Lane Multipass. And then within that, you have to choose your 3 times, but only after a certain day. We're also seeing that international guests will not be able to make any of their Lightning Lane reservations until they get stateside. I don't understand why this is. Vash, do you have any explanation whatsoever on why they would make it to where even not, and we're not talking international like Europe, although that is of course included, Canadian guests are not able to make their Lightning Lane reservations until they get stateside?
I actually don't know why that would be, or even how they would implement such a process. I'm guessing it's by
I'm confused by it. This is the point where I think, is that really how it's going? Lightning Lane Multipass, formerly Genie Plus. At WDW, book up to 3 Lightning Lane before you arrive. Resort guests book 7 days prior. All other guests 3 days prior. On day of visit, once you use a Lightning Lane, you can book additional Lightning Lane at any park. You can hold 3 Multipass Lightning Lane at any time. Yikes, that nomenclature right there. Lightning Lane Single Pass, these are the same as the current one. Some notes: no more 120-minute rule. You can hold up to 3 at all times. The ride tiers in the Lightning Lane Multipass only apply to pre-booking. No tiers when doing same-day Lightning Lane bookings.
See, this is the distinction right here that I wanted to go ahead and get to, because now we're back to the tier process that FastPass Plus implemented right before it was actually taken offline. So now you have at the 3 parks, at least Epcot, Disney Studios, and Magic Kingdom, you now have a tier system with your attractions, at least if you're reserving them online in advance. So that means you can only have one tier 1 attraction, which is going to be the most in demand, that aren't segmented out via the single Lightning Lane process. And then you have 2, I guess, minor attractions that you can select from. Now, it's great that, hey, you can reserve anything you want after that first one is actually claimed, at least on the day of. But now you're adding in additional levels of complexity at your expense and at Disney's convenience.
Yeah, this is the other thing that's so strange to me. This is supposed to be something that simplifies the park experience. It's supposed to be something that makes it easier. I don't think that this really makes it easier for anybody at this point. I get it. Paid line skipping services right now, they're in fact something that's keeping the company afloat. So I don't like it, and I don't feel like it's good show for the company. To say that something is bad show is maybe a little overdone these days, but Disney keeps veering into that area.
Oh, absolutely. The levels of complexity attached to your Walt Disney World or even Disneyland vacation are immense. And when you add on the fact that the rising prices, well, anyway, look, I have a list right here via Disney Tips Guy on Twitter. Disney did all this, at least within the last 5 years. Canceled free Magic Bands, canceled Magical Express, started charging for Fast Splash, Genie Plus, now Lightning Lane Multipass and Lightning Lane Single Pass, jacked hotel prices, cut portion sizes, raised food prices, upped ticket and AP prices, cut park hours, charged crazy rates for after-hour events, reduced staffing, cut shows and experiences, reduced maintenance budgets, and reduced promised construction projects all in the last 5 years. And now an additional level of complexity for your trouble. I mean, right. Come on, Jonas.
Did you also mention that they started charging for people to park at resorts too? Was that in there?
For a moment there, yes.
Yeah, I'll just add this. Scott Guston put this as a FAQ on behalf of the Walt Disney Company. And so he told people, throw me your questions. Main Street Magic asks, may have missed it, but any word on international visitors? Have someone who said Disney told them via chat it cannot be purchased or planned until they arrive in the US. So pretty much giving them no chance at the 3 or 7 day mark. Right here from Scott Guston. If this isn't Disney telling him this information, then they need to ask him to clarify this. International guests won't be able to purchase until they arrive in the U.S. Maybe if they have maybe if they're booking through a travel partner in the United States, it'll be something that they can remedy here. This whole thing to me is just so very confusing. And of course, this comes on the heels just at the moment where we're starting to hear that the DAS situation has maybe caused the lightning lanes to shorten a little bit at the U.S. parks. We then get this announcement that within a month, Genie Plus is dead. Long live the Genie Plus. By the way, I wanted to ask you one more thing, Vash. FastPass Plus, did they actually end up charging for that at Walt Disney World before they ended up ending the service altogether?
Kind of. So you got more perks in a similar way that multi-pass lightning lanes are now kind of resort specific, in which you have additional perks that come with that. In this case, the advanced reservation time from 3 to 7 days. A similar system was implemented for FastPass Plus, and I believe you had more reservations attached to a hotel stay as well. So they were kind of paid at that point, but not really. Now they're absolutely paid. And that's the thing, Jonas, here. So a couple of things before we round out this story right here. Peter Soretta, which is easier to understand, all of this, and also too, they uploaded a 2-minute video to go along with this. So, a little bit more homework for you as well, or this. And I do have to agree. I mean, when you compare Universal Express Pass, it is a whole lot easier. I know I was having conversations with my family going like, you know what, if you go back to Florida, there really isn't a reason to go to Walt Disney World, and Universal sounds a whole heck of a lot easier to actually enjoy a day there. So I know that's what we're going to be doing. And here's the crazy thing, Jonas. How did they not go back to the FastPass branding? It was so easy. It was so simple. Genie Plus came with the promise that things would be much improved going from FastPass Plus to this new service. Obviously, we know that wasn't exactly true. Now we've rebranded yet again, but we're still not back to FastPass. I'm guessing because they spent a whole lot on signage, change out the FastPass branding to the Lightning Lane branding. And that's
a good point. Yeah, I think you're probably right. There's probably monetary reasons at play, which is unfortunately the answer to so many questions here for the Walt Disney Company lately. We want to throw this to our commenters. Do you think this is a step in the right direction? It is allegedly an improvement over Genie Plus. Will this be enough to get you, if you're an American customer at least, back to the parks more often? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Of course, like this video if you like this video, and consider subscribing to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.